Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I know been a while. Shai's back. He's recovered from COVID. We want to kind of go through general business update today. A lot of stuff to cover. I guess we want to touch on these grants quickly. I know also in a time where markets aren't the happiest, getting money as a term, in a grant is fantastic for shareholders. So do you want to kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we have historically made sure that we get as much as we can, to get non-dilutive grants. We have a special program that was founded many years ago by the Israeli government to support different, I would say, interesting projects, whether it's for startups or established companies, but basically government support in things that they think are required, things that they think that make sense, and things that they think are very high quality. So that's what they support, basically. So they've been supporting our sepsis program. They thought it's very, very interesting and it's very worthwhile, and someone needs to do it. Nobody else has done this. And so they've been supporting us, and we just received our third grant. And I think that what probably going to happen is that we will try to get another new grant, a fourth grant next year, and a fifth grant the year after. So as you say, it kind of accumulates, especially in a time where cash is scarce and everybody's looking for ways to flatten the curve, right? The utilization of the cash, flatten the curve a little bit so it extends to a longer time period. We have quite a long runway at the moment. We have through the current budget takes us through the end of the third quarter 2024, which is fine, which is okay. Compared to many other companies, it's fine. We're still looking for ways right now, because of everything that is happening, to flatten the curve a little further. So can we maybe, I don't know, can we extend another 6 months or 9 months or something that take us into 2025? So that's something we're working on. We don't know if we don't have a plan right now in action, plan of action that we know already that we can make a statement, but we are definitely working on that right now.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, still, basically to the middle parts of 2024 is not bad compared to some other companies, like you said, and, extending to 2025 would be amazing. So cool. Well, do we want to cover, what that money's being spent on a little bit and some recent updates? I know you guys have been busy. Maybe you want to pick somewhere and we'll start there.
Right. And, in biotech, it's kind of funny that I remember my former company, we had this clinical trial that was running, and it ran for a year and a half, and we were a very boring company during that time because we had no news. Investors, they want to get news, and we're like, hey, it's a clinical trial, it's running, and we're gonna have news. So, so the interest in the company was, I think, was very low. So, but sometimes you have these short time periods when you have a lot of news and a lot of action, and this is kind of what happened. Unfortunately, it coincided with one of the most dramatic declines in U.S. equities in general in the history of capital markets. So I'm not sure that people have much appreciation to what we have reported. But in general, we started off about a month ago. We were invited to present our findings in a very prestigious conference called the International Society of Cell and Gene Therapy. And we presented there results from studies that we ran internally at the company, in which we have taken mice and infected them with a cancer called mesothelioma, which is a very, very difficult to treat cancer. Mesothelioma has 2 FDA-approved drugs, but the effectiveness of those drugs is there, but it's not that high. So what we did, what the study that we ran, and that's what we presented at the International Society of Cell and Gene Therapy, was we took several groups. One group received just the cancer, and then the other groups received cancer plus a treatment. But the treatment was either the FDA-approved drug, standalone, our drug, Alocetra, standalone, and then the two in combination. And if I'm allowed to share a screen, I would like to show you something.
Yeah, here you go.
Which I think is quite interesting. Okay, it's quite interesting. So hopefully you can see this. So it's a very complicated slide, but it's based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, right? And then you have in each, then you have the groups of mice. And as you can see, the blue, the growth of the blue represents the growth of the cancer in the body of the mouse. And the X represents already a mouse that is dead. Okay. So you can see that the group of mice that just received the cancer, the mesothelioma cancer, without any treatment, they developed the cancer very quickly and they died, and they all died. Okay, 100% of them. Then the group that received the FDA-approved drug, the anti-CTLA-4, did better. So you can see that there was a delay in the growth of the cancer, and also eventually there were 2 mice, so about 25% of the mice that actually had a complete cure, which is very impressive. It's very similar to what happens in humans, these numbers. Then you have the third group, which in which they get the cancer and only our drug product, Alocetra. And you can see that the end result is very similar to the FDA-approved drug on a standalone basis. In terms of, it's a little better, but basically the same. And here, what's really interesting, what we reported on, was that if we take the two in combination, because remember that we talked about it last time, the whole logic of our product is that it's not an anti-cancer drug, our product. It's actually, it reprograms macrophages not to support cancer anymore. So if you have that together with an anti-cancer drug, maybe the theory was that maybe the two of them can have a synergistic effect that will add a lot of value to these patients. So you see the 2 columns here are the combinations. One is a combination with low dose of our drug product, and one is combination with the high dose. Just look at the high dose. This is just mind-boggling. This is just really, really incredible that you can see that the synergistic effect in this particular study, 100% survival and clearance of the cancer. So this is really, I don't know, this is just crazy. So we started off with that, and then we moved over to presenting additional data. A few days ago at in Chicago, there is a conference called ASCO, which is the American Society of Cancer, and there, this is the most important cancer conference in the world, and we were invited to present data, and that data that we presented is right here on the slide. This data basically comes from a study that we conducted in collaboration with Yale Cancer Center. So this is not a study that we ran internally, but this was a study that was run at Yale. And here, what we tested was this a fluke? You know, the mesothelioma and the anti-CTLA-4, the FDA-approved drug. Maybe it's just a fluke. So we wanted to do a different type of cancer, a different type of very difficult cancer, and a different type of drug, to see if there is still synergy. And what you see here, you can see these are a little bit difficult to read, but basically here, you can see it in the table. It's very easy to see in the table. So at Yale, they had another cancer model, which is called ovarian cancer. They take female mice with ovarian cancer, very, very difficult cancer to treat. And the FDA kind of approved drug, so the anti-PD-1 drug has very little efficacy. Okay, so you see here that in this in the table right here, you can see that the mice without any treatment survived. The median survival was 6 weeks. And overall survival at the end was 0. So they all died. And you can see those that were treated by the anti-PD-1, that's an approved drug, not our drug, had an extension of about 42% in terms of survival duration. So there was a delay in the growth of the cancer, which is excellent. But the overall survival was 10% and not statistically meaningful. It's like 0. Then Allocetra, our drug product, standalone, extended the duration a little farther. It's 58% in terms of the median kind of survival duration, but also no real effect on the overall survival at the end. So our conclusion was that both of them are very similar. The FDA-approved drug standalone and Allocetra standalone. But here again, look at the combination. What happens is that 50% survival. And this is crazy. And again, why this is not 100%? Because the anti-CTLA-4 is more effective in mesothelioma than anti-PD-1 in ovarian cancer. But still, so this was an independent study that was run at Yale and kind of replicated the results. Different cancers, different drugs, a lot of synergy. So that kind of gave us a lot of encouragement. So basically, and then we announced yesterday that we have received a regulatory approval to initiate our first clinical trial in very severe patients that have a very advanced cancer, solid cancer with peritoneal metastasis. And we're gonna, so we have received approval to initiate that study. So it's a phase 1/2, and we announced it, yesterday. So this is kind of just a short summary. Well, maybe it wasn't short, but a summary of kind of what's been going on. And as you remember, we also discussed the fact that we had an intent to run another study, another clinical trial. This one that I showed you is in combination with chemotherapy. We are planning to initiate another study, so hopefully we'll get an approval for that as well later in the year, to do a combination with anti-PD-1, which is an approved drug. And again, the patient population will be the same, very, very difficult to treat patients. And what we're looking in these studies, we're looking at the safety profile in these patient populations of Allocetra standalone, the safety profile of the combinations, but also trying to see whether we can see something, some indication of the mechanism of action, some indication, some things that we saw in the mice. Hopefully, we can see some of that in some of those patients. So that is kind of where we are on the oncology side, and we're continuing to recruit patients on the sepsis study, which I think that we reported that we expect at the end of next year the top line results. Just a reminder, sepsis is a big deal and a huge market, and there were no one to date was really able to get kind of FDA approval for this. And we, following the results that we had in the previous study, which were phenomenal, we initiated this study, the larger study, which is run in multiple countries and multiple centers. And we really look forward to obtaining the results from that study.
Yeah, well, look, congratulations. I know a long time coming, fantastic that you guys are able to have these results. And I think I speak for everyone watching, extremely interesting. Of course, always want to invite people with questions. Please drop them below. We'll make sure we do a Q&A video coming up. But look, Amazing work. Thanks so much for the walkthrough as well. Really appreciate that. And I think this is a great kind of overall video, a little catch up for people that have been waiting for a couple weeks. And congratulations again. Look forward to seeing you guys at some of these conferences. And I'm sure we'll do a Q&A video in the weeks to come. But anything else you wanted to add?
No, so pleasure to see you again, Jason, and thank you for taking the time to have this interview with me.
Awesome. We'll chat again soon.